Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I will be filming my review and a 3 demo look on the Anastasia Soft Glam palette. You guys have been requesting for this palette since forever and I'm finally doing it. Thank you so much for waiting. I know it took me a really long time to get to this palette, but we are here today. So I am going to share with you my thoughts on the formula, the shade range, and at the end, of course, you guys will see my 3 looks using this one palette. So if you guys are interested in all of that, then just continue watching. Alright, so to get started, let's start off with some product info. You can get the Anastasia palette for 42 US dollars or for 86 New Zealand dollars. There are 14 shades in here. It comes with a mirror and there's also a dual-ended brush in the palette as well. So with the eyeshadows, there are 8 mattes, 1 satin, and 5 metallics. So 8 mattes is a really high number and I really love that. So with that being said, let's talk about my thoughts on the formula. So I have reviewed the Mono Renaissance, the Subculture, and Norvina in the past, so if you're interested in seeing those videos, I'll be sure to leave them in the cards up here, and I'll also leave the links down below just in case you're interested. I have talked about the formula in the past. I would say with Anastasia's eyeshadow formula, it is a little bit inconsistent. I feel like with the Subculture, it was a little bit more patchier, but it might just be because of the certain shades that are in that palette. But for the most part, Soft Glam, I had no problems with it. Nothing was super patchy on me. It was very easy to work with. It might be just I'm used to this formula now. Like, I've played around with it, I've gotten used to it. I know how to work my way around Anastasia's formula, because at first you do have to like adjust to it because there's a lot of fallout with this formula. I think everybody knows that, especially after Subculture, and it's super pigmented, so you really need a little amount on your brush. It's better to build up these shadows rather than going in with a heavy hand and trying to blend that out. For example, when I go in with my Colourpop shadows, I can like go in pretty heavy-handed and I can blend it out on my eye, but with this I use a very light hand with this and then I work my way up. Maybe it's because of that I've had less problems, just because I've used 3 palettes in the past, I've played with them before, I know how to work my way around Anastasia's shadows. I don't know if it's that, but I had no problems, no issues. Nothing was really patchy for me. Formula wise, it was great. I love it. So like I was saying before, how there are 8 mattes, 1 satin, and 5 metallics. The mattes in here are honestly so good. You get a bunch of transition shadows, you get a bunch of medium tones, and then you get a black in here, which is so necessary. I love black eyeshadows. I don't know. More recently, I feel like a black matte eyeshadow is just necessary for an eye look, so I love how they included that. You get all these warm tones, but then you also get this like dusty rose transitional shade, which is great because the transition shade always sets the tone and the vibe of the look. So you have like 3 transition shadows that can just set a different vibe for each look, and I feel like you guys will really see that in the 3 looks. I feel like all of them somewhat look a bit different from each other. So you get light, medium, and dark, and a black. Like, it's just everything you need in the matte, so I'm really happy with that. I think the metallics are super pretty as well. I do feel like Glistening and Fairy maybe is like a little bit too similar. Like, they are different. You can tell when you swatch them, they are completely different, but I don't know, I feel like maybe we could have added something in different. But for the most part, there's a variety within the metallics. So there's just a good variety in this. And when you look at it, you might think like this is just a simple old palette. But I don't know, when you play with it, I think this is a really good everyday palette. And out of all the Anastasia palettes I have used so far, this one is my favorite just because it's the tones that I'm gonna use. The name of this is so right, like Soft Glam. I love these soft matte. I see myself traveling with this. It's like my new favorite. You guys know I love the Norvina palette. I do still love it, but Norvina is a little bit more purple, more mauvey. You definitely can make that an everyday palette, but these tones, you know, this vibe is just, it is me, and I love it. I do want to mention that there are repeat shades in this palette, so in total that I researched, I think there is 8 repeat shades. So some of them are in single shadows, some of them come in previous palettes. So I will quickly put over the screen what is already existing. So Tempura comes in the Mono Renaissance palette. Orange Soda is a single shadow, Dusty Rose is a single shadow, Burnt Orange is a single shadow, but it also comes in the Mono Renaissance palette as well. Sienna comes in a single shadow, Cypress Umber comes in the Modern Renaissance, and Noir is a single shadow, and it also comes in the Sultry palette. So a lot of these shadows do come in single shadows. You probably could build your own palette and kind of customize it a little bit. So that is pretty much all I wanted to talk about the Soft Glam. I feel like there's nothing else I can really say. The formula is good, but you got to get used to it. The range is good, the tones are pretty, there was no pitchiness. So yeah, I feel like that is pretty much everything. But yeah, I finally did Soft Glam. I hope this video was worth the wait. But with that being said, let's move on to the swatches and the 3 looks. First, I'm going to take the shade Burnt Orange, and this is going to be my transitional shadow. I'm just going to put that straight into my crease using windshield wiping motions and blending that towards my brow bone. I am using a little bit on my brush and just slowly building up this product. You don't want to go very heavy-handed with any of these eyeshadows just because they are super pigmented. I'm also going to run this on my lower lash line just to get a good wash from the outer corner to the inner corner. I'll then take the shade Sienna, and this is going into my outer third of my eye. I'm going to really deepen up the outer corner, and what is ever left on my brush, I'll bring that towards the inner part of my crease, but mostly the darkness is going to go towards the outer corner. And once again, we're going to bring that onto our lower lash line as well, but only at the outer third. Then I'm taking the shade Mulberry, and this is going at the outer third once again, but we are using a smaller brush and we're going to focus it in a smaller section. This is just going to create more darkness and deepness into the outer third. I'll also be taking Mulberry onto my lower lash line once again, but just at the outer third. Now I'm going into the shade Sultry, and I'm using this shadow wet. I'm going to place that right at the inner third of my eye, and around my crease area I'm going to blend that out by just tapping and dabbing it. I want this to be very soft and very diffused because the palette is called Soft Glam, so I want a soft glam. So I did my eyeliner off camera, but now I'm going to take the shade Noir, and I'm going to use this to smudge out my liner, especially at the outer corner. I'm going to smoke it into the outer third of my eye where all the darker eyeshadows are, and I'm just going to blend it out towards those shadows. And once again, just bringing that onto my lower lash line as well. Just making that outer corner as dark as possible on the top lid and also on the lower lash line as well. To complete the look, I will be taking my Odyssey in Mode-Star eyeliner in the shade Coffee, and I'm going to be using this to tightline my lower lash line, but once again only at the outer third. I'm going to stop it right at the middle. And the last and final step, we are taking Tempura, and I'm going to use this to highlight my brow bone and my inner corners. I just feel like the silvery white highlight really complements Sultry because Sultry has a bit of silver reflex in there, so I feel like it complements that eyeshadow really nicely. Alright guys, so this is the first look completed. For my lashes, I am wearing the iconic Lite from House of Lashes. For my lip pairing, I decided to go with the Colourpop Luxe lipstick in the shade Y2K. And that pretty much wraps up this look. Any other makeup details will be in the description down below. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first look. To get started with the second look, I'm going to take the shade Dusty Rose, and this is going to be our transition shadow. You guys know the drill. I'm just putting that straight into my crease using windshield wiping motion. This is really going to set the tone of the eye look. It's going to look a lot more burgundy, more rosy toned rather than more warm tones. Your transition shadow will always set the vibe of the entire eye look. Next, I'm taking the shade Sienna and I'm going to put that in my outer third and also my inner third of my lid space. We are just leaving the middle of our lid blank. This is just the first shadow that we're going to be placing there, so you want to get a good blend out of that. Moving on to the shade Cypress Umber, I'm doing exactly the same thing, but I'm using a smaller brush and I'm going to focus it in a smaller section. Again, just at the outer third and inner third of my eye, leaving the middle blank. You will see that the darker that we go, the more dimension that we are creating. I'm going to take the tiniest bit of Noir, just a very tiny amount. This is super pigmented. It is a matte black, so I'm just taking a little amount on my brush. I'm actually using the one from the Anastasia palette. And now for the center shade, I'm going to use the shade Rose Pink, and I'm going to use this dry first, and I'm going to put that right in the middle of my lid and around the crease area. I'm just going to dab it out just so it blends out into nothing around my brow bone. I want this to be very soft and very diffuse. That's just a technique that I've been loving, so I'm just going to make sure that it is well blended around the crease area. And then I'll take a smaller brush and use it wet and just focus that right at the center. I'm now going back into the shade Dusty Rose and I'm going to run this all over my lower lash line. I'm going to try and connect it at the outer corner as well, so that way the whole look can just come together. I'm then going to take a mixture of Sienna and Cypress Umber and I'm going to push this up against my lower lash line, right from the outer corner to the inner corner as well. And then using the shade Rose Pink, I'm going to use this wet and I'm going to put that right at the center on my lower lash line, aligning it with the halo eye on our top lid. And to finish things off, I'm going to take the shade Tempura and I'm going to use this to highlight my brow bone and also my inner corners. Alright guys, so this completes the second look. For my lashes, I am wearing the Mila lashes in the style Hello Dolly. For my lip pairing, I decided to go with the Ultra Glossy Lip from Colourpop in the shade Aquarius. I'm actually quite surprised that I was able to create more of like a berry mauvey look out of this palette, because it didn't really seem like I could. I haven't done a halo eye in a really long time, but I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I hope you guys liked it too. And now for the final look, I'm going to start off with the shade Orange Soda, and this is going to be my transition shade. I'm going to bring that up towards my brow bone just because I want this to peep through underneath the cut crease that we're going to create later on. I'm then going into the shade Rustic and I'm going to apply this into my outer third. I'm going to pack most of the color there, and then what is ever left on my brush, I'll bring that towards the inner part of my crease. We want a lot of dimension in the inner crease area just because we're going to be creating a half cut crease. I want that to contrast against something very dark. So this is the first step to start building up the dark smokiness. I'm then going into the shade Cypress Umber and I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing, but I am using a smaller brush, but this is just going to help create that depth and darkness that I was talking about earlier. And then going into the shade Noir, once again doing exactly the same thing, but I'm not going to really use too much of this product just because it is really dark and it is black. It's harder to blend out, so it's just better to go in with a little bit and then blend from there. If you feel like you need more and you want more darkness, feel free to add more. Now I'm taking the P. Louise eyeshadow base on the back of my hand and I'm going to use this to cut out my crease. And then I would take a thinner definer brush just to really carve out the crease and make that very precise. Not like the other looks where it was very soft and diffuse. This one we want it to be very precise, very cut and clean. Now once I have my cut crease down, I'm going to take the shade Glistening. I'm going to use the shadow wet and I'm going to place that right on top of that eyeshadow base. Towards the middle, I'm going to just kind of sweep it out and blend it. And I'm also going to take my previous brushes with the matte shadows on it and just blend it out by dabbing where they meet. I'm then going to go back into the shade Rustic and I'm going to run this all over my lower lash line from the outer corner right to the inner corner. And then I'm taking the shade Cypress Umber and I'm going to push this up against my lower lash line. I just want to make the lower lash line very dramatic as well so it can match the cut crease. And then I'm quickly taking my Artisty in Modestar eyeliner in the shade Coffee and I'll be using this to tightline my entire bottom waterline. Alright guys, so this is the last look completed. For my lashes, I am wearing the iconic lights from House of Lashes, and for my final lip pairing, I'm wearing the Luxe lipstick from Colourpop in the shade Layover. I haven't done a cut crease in a while, so it was nice to just go back to doing cut creases again. I had a lot of fun doing it, so I hope you guys enjoyed this look. Alright guys, so this completes my video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it and it was worth the wait. I am so sorry that it took me so long to get to Soft Glam. But if you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It just lets me know that I'm doing something right on this channel. Comment down below your thoughts on the Soft Glam. Are you on my boat? Are you on a different boat? Agree or disagree? Also let me know which palette you want me to do next from Anastasia. I just want to slowly get through her whole family of palettes and just be caught up with her brand. I'm feeling Riviere, but you guys let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I love you guys and I will see you in my next video. Bye!